Hello YouTube. It is your favorite cat again, back with another short video. This time we are going over the basic offensive strategies and what is called layering to open up your opponent in fighting games such as Guilty Gear Strive. Again, a brief reminder, if this video helps you in any way, please be sure to like and subscribe and show your support. Also, let me know down in the comments below who your favorite Guilty Gear character is and why. So let's say you're a beginner, you just learned what your character's buttons do, you may even watched a few tutorial videos, a few combo guides on YouTube of what you should do with your character, what your bread and butters are. Bread and butter, or B&B, is a fighting game term for your most basic practical combo. The old reliable, if you will, that whenever you land a hit, this is the combo that you go into. This is your simplest combo, your most practical combo. May not do the most damage, may not be the most optimal, but it's the one that you just have the muscle memory to go into. It's your easiest one. So let's say you've learned all this, but you still have trouble opening up your opponent and getting that initial hit before going into these combos. And that is where layering comes in. Alright, so before we get into it, before we begin going over layering, I forgot the most important thing. There we go. Now I've got my one singular brain cell. Like all RAM players, we share our brain cell in this hat. We just pass it along to other RAM mains whenever we need it the most. So let's get into it. Let's get into layers. So, like cakes, like onions, and yes, like ogres, your offense should have layers. This, at its most simplest form, really just means having pressure strings or block strings, or mix, that has backup options for when your opponent blocks your initial option. This could also be done through what is called conditioning, and no, I'm not talking about Dove. Conditioning is getting your opponent to behave a certain way by doing something repeatedly, whether that is pressure, like a certain pressure string, certain block string, or a certain reaction to whatever they are doing, and then later on doing something completely different that they weren't expecting. But we'll get more into that in another video, maybe coming up in the future. Layering is using the offensive tools that you have to open up your opponent so that when the first option doesn't work, it leads into another option, or another layer, if you will. This can be done through mixing up your highs and lows. So unfortunately, Ramlethal in Guilty Gear Strive doesn't really have a whole lot of high options outside of jump buttons. So she will be doing it through mids and lows, and just really trying to get your opponent to react, and trying to get your opponent to make a mistake and press a button. And also through opening up your opponent through her strike through game, meaning either options of either going into like another button, like close slash into 2K, or close slash into throw, using your plus frames as advantage. This is super important to learn so that when you start running into the higher level, more experienced players, as you start climbing higher and higher floors, you're not doing the same block strings over and over again. You're not doing close slash, far slash, 5H into sword toss over and over again, for example, for Ramlethal, where your opponent knows what's coming, knows how to react to it, and starts punishing you for doing the same thing over and over again. So I'm going to go over a couple of different options, different layers that I used in some matches that I recorded earlier this morning. Unfortunately, I couldn't do this in real time just because I do have the one singular brain cell, and it's super hard for me to explain while I'm playing at the same time and explain what I'm doing. As you see here, behind me and behind the second me, we did throw out our sword toss as our like wall setup, our wall pressure setup, and our lovely follower Owie jumped out of it, and we took note of that as they press the jump button and we block. So the next pressure string, as we get the hard knockdown, the next little Oki setup, we do a jump, our jump K. Now unfortunately we mistimed it a little bit, so they did get the grab off of the Oki. So we'll get our hard knockdown again. Sword toss setup this time. This will keep them from just wake up throwing off of my jump button like they did previously. And it'll also force them to block in the air if they do jump off of wake up. So it does, they do jump, we do catch them and block with the block string with the jump K. Keep them to force block with the core circle back, and then because of that, we can open them up with the low. Resets, we do the same thing. This time we follow it up with the mid, and it actually forces their burst. This is what I mean by layering. You use your offensive tools and offensive buttons that can lead into other options if your first option is blocked. And you want to change up your options each time as well, so that your opponent is always having to guess on your mixes, and on your Oki and on your setup when they get hard knocked down like that. So they burst the first close S. They don't have a defensive option. We're going to go close S, followed up by another close S to hit confirm, into a throw, into another close S for the OTG. Let's see here. Alright, so we use close S, so now we're plus on block. So we can go from anything here. We can go into our 2K, we can go into our Rekka, we can go into sword toss. It's just whatever option. Close S for Remothal is her number one layering tool, number one layering button. We actually get a hit out of here. I think I was throwing sword. No, I don't remember what I was throwing sword. It might have been a misinput because the sword would have landed, but I do get counter hit. All right, so we go close S, and this time we just go straight into our throw. Since we were expecting them to hit a button, press a button off of the close S. Get RTG, close S again. They actually press into this close S. And so we get the counter hit, go into our super. And then close S, pressure, right back immediately into the throw again. So that was a brief tutorial about layering. So it's on you, the viewer, now. So go experiment in training mode a little bit. See for yourself what kind of options, what kind of buttons your character has that can lead into these layered mix-ups. What kind of high-low options that you might have. This can be something that can be translated into any fighting game. But go into the training mode, practice, try your options out. See what you have, see what different block strings you can come up with, see if you can come up with something new, see if you can find something that someone else might do, and just see how you can adapt your strategy to suit them as well and suit your play as well. And really, let me know how you do. Let me know if you improved. Let me know if this video was helpful for you.